this morning in the dojo, we had a request to work on Ashi waza, like foot techniques, different types of ankle reaps and sweeps and stuff like that. So what I want to do is I just want to put down here for this community, for you guys, some of the techniques that we worked on. Very, very basic exercise. A lot of these exercises are drafted from my judo experience, but they're all techniques that we see in the kata of our martial art. They're great for training, they're great for sparring, but they're also great for knowing when you move into the later techniques. So the first technique really is going to be based on with his foot forward and coming in and using your foot to the back of his, where you're using the sole of your foot and you're directing, triggering at the Achilles and directing the foot in the same direction that the toes are facing. This is really important to understand this technique. But before we get into that, understanding kuzushi and balance break and the different ways of moving the top line of the body to create imbalance, to reposition and redirect the weight of the body onto one foot or the other, and then you attack the opposing foot that doesn't have the weight on it with the momentum. So there's a whole bunch of different principles that I just stacked up there, but I want to kind of keep it extremely basic so that if you want to train this movement, this technique on your own, you can, or if you have a training partner. But really the first thing is in this position, as we're getting set up to attack the back of this foot, there's three directions that we can go in. One is to bring the shoulder line up like this, where I bring my right hand up, I direct my thumb forward, and I bring my left hand down, and I create this type of movement. The second is both hands are parallel to the ground. So from here, I might move like that. And then the third one is going to be where this hand comes inward, and this one goes, they both kind of come inward like this, and I lift my left, so we have more of this movement to there. For the exercise today, we move, and I'm going to use the second one, where I'm coming straight like this, and I'm putting, as I'm stepping and shifting my weight forward like this, I'm putting all the weight onto his opposite leg, onto his left leg. So my movement is simply going to be 1, 2, and take down, and his shoulder line stays centered to my body. And this is just a basic ankle sweep. What's important here, however, is that you don't lunge into the technique, meaning this right foot has stayed where it is, and I have to kind of bring my weight back to execute the sweep. And what's worse is that the direction of the sweep is going to intersect this leg. So from this position, from what's called Jigotai Kumiuchi, I simply just shift like this. As I do that shift, from here, 1, then from here, 2, and take down. Triggering the Achilles and making sure that the momentum of this sweep is in the same direction as the foot is pointing is really important. Very basic exercise that you can do standing. The second one is going to be Ashi Garuma, and this is really drafted from how I first learned this in Kodokan Judo, which is going to be when he takes a step with his right, and then I take a step with my right, and that's it. So I'll teach this in my children's class even. It's very basic and it's super high value. So from here, right, then left, and take down. And now what's happening with this exercise is I've gone from coming in from behind in this direction to coming to the side where the sole of my foot is essentially cupping the ankle. And while he's moving this way, maybe he's coming in to enter with a throw, or he's trying to just, we're in a grappling situation, I'm attacking the foot while it's in momentum. As well, I apply the kuzushi principle, one of the three that I just showed, with the top tier with the shoulder line, and directing him into the throw. So let's do that one more time. So here, very simple. We start off in Jissen Kobudo Jinenkan. He 1 and 2, and take down. And that's it. This is the second exercise. Now the third exercise, and I know some of you are probably saying, wow, this is like very easy stuff, but I can't express to you enough how important it is in some of the later kata. But this is like I said, this is the very basic way of learning the technique. Now from here, I'm going to go to the inside, where Andre's going to push in at me Or we could even just start like this, where from here, I enter, and then I put the weight on this back leg, and then I scoop this foot, essentially the same technique as here, but here I'm outside, and here I'm to the inside. How we trained it, however, is start to get the feeling of momentum in the kazushi here. So he pushes on me like this. And I could take the technique right now, but from here, he pushes, he shifts in again, and I step in again. And at this point, I come in and I sweep, and I do the takedown like that. Boom. Let's face the other direction. So, 1, 2. That's the technique. Doesn't get any easier than that. But, doesn't get any really more important than that. So, we drilled this, and then from there, we would go into floating, meaning the uke just simply shifts any direction. It's not, there's no pattern here. Once the student understands that basic direction in the movement, and simple things like how to move the shoulder line as you take your entry, and then it all kind of comes together, and it forms the technique. The next level, however, we didn't do today, maybe we'll get into next week, is floating, where the uke, we're going to take any one of those 3 directions, and which becomes 6, because if you go left, right, we have to stay below the shin, and this level, we have to stay inside of the foot. And the uke will push, pull, they'll just basically float any direction like this. Just move, move, switch hands when they want, move, move. And then you would try to find any one of those 3 techniques based off of a momentum that is not predetermined, right? So that would be the next level with this exercise. There's a whole bunch more, but we only had time for those 3, and I wanted to share